Apologies for the screaming children, that would be my neighbour's grandchildren. Anyway,
So welcome to this video,
where we will be comparing the additional Sims 4 packs available to purchase. Now, I'm assuming for the purpose of this video that you are coming new to the game and just wanting to know the pros and cons of each pack. Now, there are many videos available rating or ranking the packs against each other. Now, the problem with that is it is rather subjective. What someone else loves you may hate, and vice versa. So, my aim in this video is simply to go through the reasons why you might want to buy each particular pack and reasons why you might not. And then hopefully whichever set of reasons you identify with, that will tell you whether to buy the pack or not. Now, obviously I'm also assuming that you are not one of those people who just wants to buy every single pack, whether you want it or not, because in which case you don't need to watch this video. I'm also going to avoid making comparisons with previous iterations of The Sims, because if you haven't played those, it isn't very helpful. Now, quickly before we get started, I should say, in case you are very new to this game, that there are 3 different tiers, if you like, of additional content packs that you can buy. I know this really confused me when I first came onto it. The stuff packs are fairly straightforward. They basically just contain stuff, clues in the name. So that is Create a Sim items and build mode items. So essentially, if you like the look of the stuff, then you buy the pack. Quite straightforward. The expansion and the game packs, obviously the main difference is that expansion packs are more expensive. As you can see, the prices are tiered, which would suggest, obviously, the more you pay, the more stuff you get. In theory, that is the case. But yeah, in practice, it's not really a clear-cut distinction. I think the basis of it is meant to be that expansion packs contain new gameplay, so to speak, so it expands the way that you play the game. Game packs perhaps not, which makes the name a tad confusing. But as I say, the distinction isn't actually very clear, so don't worry about it. We'll get onto that when we go through them. So to say, most expansion and game packs add a new world as well to your game. But we'll talk about that as we go through them. Now, before we start on expansion packs, I will just say that if you're anything like me, you will want to have a look at the expansion packs before you get into playing the game. Now, personally, once I get used to playing a game in a particular way, I really, really hate that changing. Now, expansion packs do add gameplay elements, and so in some cases they will significantly change how you're going to play the game. Often when they do that, the features that they add can be turned off, if you like, but then that does seem a bit silly to buy it and then turn it off. So yes, certainly what I did was I made sure that I did a lot of research, and then I decided which expansion packs I wanted and got them straight away, so that I wouldn't then have my game changing. Obviously the expansion packs are the most expensive, but you can bundle them up to make them cheaper, and they do have regular sales where you'll find them 50% off, so that might be a good time to get them. So without further ado, let us go through the expansion packs, and we'll talk about the pros and cons of each one and what you actually get with them. Okay, so I'm going to go through in order of release, just because. Okay, so the first expansion pack to be released was Get to Work. Now, the main premise of this is that it features what they call active careers. So you get 3 new careers: detective, doctor, and scientist. And the difference with these, as opposed to the ordinary careers where your sim just goes off into a void when they go to work and then comes back at the end of the day, is that you get the opportunity to go with them. Now, I should say you don't have to, you can send them off on their own if you prefer, but it is a promotion task to go with them some of the time, so you will need to do that. Now, when you get to work with your sim, you will be given a number of daily tasks to complete. Now, I should say straight away that these careers are not nearly as exciting as they might sound. For example, if you read the blurb about the detective career, it talks about studying the evidence and seeking out clues in order to solve a crime, and this does make it sound a lot more interesting than it really is. In fact, all three careers are basically the same, and the way they work is very similar to parties, if you've done those on The Sims. You'll have a little box, you can see up here in the corner, which gives you your daily tasks, and you have a time limit in which to complete them. Unlike parties, it is actually very easy to complete the tasks in the time frame. You can see here, for example, I'm running the doctor career. This starts off with tasks such as talking to your colleagues and making coffee, and gradually as you progress through the career, you'll be given more and more responsibility with patients, and eventually you'll perform various diagnostic tasks using these machines and interacting with the patients until a little diagnosis pops up, and you will then give them the opportunity to give them some medicine to treat them, and they go on their merry way. The scientist and detective careers are very, very similar. As I say, you will not actually be solving puzzles, you just do what it tells you. So these careers are quite fun, I think. They do add a bit of extra gameplay, something a bit different. If you do have a household where you send all your Sims off to work, you may find that you get quite bored when they're all away. But I will say it does get a little bit repetitive after a while. Your daily tasks don't really change much from day to day. The other problem is, of course, it really depends on how you play the game. But you may prefer, obviously, to have one of your Sims perhaps stay at home and tidy up the house or whatever. It does rather tie you down if you are having to go off to work with them every day. You don't really get a break from your Sims, so to speak. So depending on how you play the game, that's something to consider. You may find you end up having one on an active career but setting them off on their own, which rather does defeat the object. And other interesting things added by this game pack is you get a new supernatural creature, that is to say aliens. Now these sort of come as part of the scientist career in the sense that as you progress up the levels of this, you can discover aliens, so to speak. You can travel to an alien world and various interactions spreading from that. But aliens are also a new thing within the game in general, so when you create a sim, you can create a sim as an alien, if you so wish. They obviously have a disguise as an ordinary sim. They also have this rather fun-looking alien form and various alien powers. Now, personally, I love adding little supernatural elements to the game. I think it's really fun. The aliens are possibly the least interesting of the supernatural creatures because, by and large, they just look like ordinary Sims if you have them in their disguised form. But they're quite a fun little addition. Also, with the Get to Work pack, you do get some more career options. You can also own a resale store, and there's quite a lot of scope for customization around that. Although, again, it does boil down to quite formulaic, task-based. Do this, do that. Because one of the stores that you can own is a bakery, you do now get a new skill, which is baking. So that adds quite a lot of fun if you're into making cakes. The new world that you get with Get to Work is quite small. It's very much themed to the pack. It is just a sort of a retail lot, if you like, which gives you some examples of businesses that you can set up to help get you started. You can, of course, design your own. And you will see that many of the build mode items are very much themed around that. You will have a lot of retail items, essentially, for building your shop. And as you can see, you can make a bakery, clothes shop, etc. So you could create a sort of shopping precinct if you felt in the mood. Yes, the new Create a Sim items, here's a look at them. so Sims really do like packs that start with Get. The second pack to be released was Get Together. Now, the main feature of this pack is that it adds clubs to your gameplay. Now, this is quite a fun feature. It does allow you to create all sorts of mischief if you feel like it. There is a great review of this pack actually, and a lazy game review, where they talk about how you can take a lot of peaceful book club for old ladies and turn them into so yeah, do check that review out if you want more information about this pack. That I would say is the most interesting element of this pack. There are other features of it. It adds the skill of dancing, and it also does have what a lot of people consider to be one of the nicest additional worlds that you get, which is Wimbledon, which is a sort of European-inspired village. It's with little plazas and cafes. It's very attractive. So cats and dogs does very much what it says on the tin. It adds cats and dogs to your Sims game. Now, I mean, as a self-confessed crazy cat lady, this wasn't really a question for me. I had to get it. But yes, that is very much what it does. So if you love cats and dogs, then this will be on your list. If you're indifferent towards them, then don't bother, because that is basically all it is. It is, as I say, just cats and dogs. You're not going to get any other pets with it, although there is a sort of, almost like a Easter egg, I suppose you'd call it. If you do look down the cat bridge, you will discover that one of them is actually a raccoon, and one of the dog breeds is a fox. This does allow you to have some fun. I know when I was creating a little household full of supernatural creatures who were all trying to convince everyone that they're human. That was my backstory. A little bit like Being Human, if you ever saw that TV series. But yeah, they did get a few details wrong, like when they thought everyone must have a pet cat and dog to look normal, and unfortunately they had a raccoon and a fox. Preparatory research didn't go very well. As you can see, you have a wealth of customization options for your cats and dogs. Like with the Creator Sims, you can basically customize every feature to create your exact pet, or you can just be silly. The build items that you get with this pack are very much also cat and dog related. Obviously you will have a lot of now pet furniture, various things to help you take care of your pet, so you can feed them and keep them entertained, etc. And equally you will have a number of new clothing options and things you can see, generally also cat and dog related. And there's decor to match as well, all of which is thoroughly cute. You also obviously get new traits, as people can be either cat, dog lovers or haters, and lock traits to make a place a cat or dog hangout. This will attract a load of local strays to the area. This being another feature of it, obviously not just your own cats and dogs, but you will find them wandering about as well. The world that you get with this pack is Brindleton Bay, which, as you can imagine, is a very cat and dog themed place. You've got one sort of cat themed area, one dog themed, and one kind of combi one. This is also where you'll find the vet clinic. Now it's important you bear this in mind, because if you do put cats and dogs into your other worlds, they will occasionally get sick and you'll need to take them to the vets, and this is where you will find the only vet. You can, of course, build your own veterinary clinic, and then you can put one wherever you like. But if you don't want to do that, you'll need to bring them here. Cats and dogs, incidentally, cannot actually die from sickness like ordinary Sims, but if they do get sick and you don't treat them, they will run away and bring you back a little present when they come back, which is rather nice. Running your veterinary clinic is very much like running the retail stores in Get to Work. But yes, that is basically Cats and Dogs. I think is a very simple pack to decide whether you want or not. Basically, what is your opinion of Cats and Dogs? Now, another Get pack, Get Famous. Well, as the name suggests, this adds fame. It becomes a thing under your Simology panel. You will now see, for all of your Sims, how famous they are. It also gives them a reputation, which starts off as neutral and can then become good or bad, depending on when they do nice things, although they do usually have to be done in front of other Sims in order to count. And yes, good things can be anything from being nice to other things, changing a baby's nappy, tidying up, etc. Now, fame can be built up in all sorts of ways. Many of the things that you already had the option to do, adding to your Sipstagram, story, selling paintings, producing novels, etc. These will now all add to your Sims' fame count. Additionally, obviously you will now have new ways to get famous. These include music production with the new music production suite available, and also video production. So for YouTubers out there, this is particularly amusing because you can now actually recreate your daily life in The Sims, if you don't find that too meta. Obviously, the main additional feature that this pack brings is the career of actor/actress. This is an active career like the ones in Get to Work, so you will get to go with your Sim and direct their life on set. As you can see, you get a whole new collection of build items that go with these, that go with this career, your cameras, effect suites, etc. So if you want to build your own movie studio, you can do that. Otherwise, just sign your Sim up as an actor. They will go off to auditions by themselves, but when they get the role, you will then get to go with them. You can practice acting using a mirror or practicing other Sims. And as you can see, this pack adds various create a Sim and build items along the theme of Get Famous. So if you are interested in the world of films and TV, or creating content on YouTube or so on, then this pack will probably be a lot of fun. It does have a downside that once your Sims get famous, which they can actually do very easily just by writing a few books and selling a painting, it does change how other Sims interact with them, and you may find this actually gets quite annoying. But you do have the option to turn off those effects in the game options if you prefer. Okay, so let's move on to game packs. Which is generally my personal favourite. I like an awful lot of these. But anyway, let's go through the pros and cons, shall we? Now, in order of release again, Outdoor Retreat was the first one. Now, what does this add to your game? Well, you get a new world called Granite Falls. This is what they call a vacation destination rather than being a world you can actually live in. You can send your Sims on holiday here. Just book it up on the phone. And you can choose either to stay in a lodge here or you can camp. You can buy various camping equipment that is added in the build items. Or you can also purchase it when you get there if you forget. Now, Granite Falls features a nice little forest in which you can go exploring. In particular, it features a lot of interesting plants, many of which are unidentified when you first pick them. In order to identify them, you need to build up the new skill of herbalism. I actually work as a herbalist, so when I saw this pack, I had to buy it purely for the fact that you get to develop your herbalism skill, which I find amusing. This then allows you to brew various herbal remedies as you increase the skill, which can be very useful if you contract one of the new diseases which are introduced, either by this or the Get to Work pack. Now, in general, this pack doesn't add a great deal to your gameplay. You get a couple of new traits where people can either be squeamish about the outdoors or love them, and you do get some aspirations linked with this pack as well. As I say, I got it purely for the herbalism skill. I thought that was so wonderful working as a herbalist. The Granite Falls world is quite fun to explore. But after a couple of holidays there, you will probably have exhausted it. It is quite useful to be able to send your Sims off to different destinations. So, for example, if you don't have the Island Living pack, this might be a very good choice, because when they are getting stressed out from work, you can send them off on a little weekend holiday and just let them do their own thing, and they come back all refreshed, and it's very good for them. Assuming they like the outdoors, of course. So yes, it's a fun pack to play around with. If you're into camping, or like me, interested in herbalism, then definitely it's probably the pack for you. If not, you may find you get bored with it a little quickly. Now moving on to our second one, Spa Day. Now in many ways this is quite similar. It adds the skill of wellness. This can be developed in a variety of ways, such as yoga and meditation. It also adds spas as a thing now. You have various pre-built ones which you can add to your lots, or you can obviously build your own. You can now take a variety of interesting baths, mud soaks, and so on and so forth, get a massage, all things like that. So again, if that is something that you are into in your life, then this will probably be quite a lot of fun. If you have no particular interest in sort of spa days and so on, then you'll probably get bored quite easily with this pack. As you can see, there's some quite nice sort of build items along with it, but they're all very much on a theme. So yes, obviously working in the sort of holistic industry as I do, I find this a lot of fun. But if wellness isn't really your thing, then that is basically what this pack relates to. Now, vampires. Now this pack does add quite a bit to your game, because obviously it creates a whole new supernatural creature, that is to say, well, vampires. Now personally I love all things spooky, so I do love this pack. But I know some people don't really like playing sort of supernatural Sims, in which case this obviously isn't the pack for you, because, well, that's what it is. Although, having said that, the build items that you do get with it are quite fantastic if you do love sort of gothic architecture and so on. The Creator Sim ones are great fun. So if you are into that sort of goth style, then you probably want to get this. As the name suggests, obviously the main feature that you do get with this is the addition of vampires. Now you can create these straight away in Creator Sim, or alternatively your Sims can become vampires by being turned by one existing in the game. You do start off with 3 of them, and they are in... As you can see, this is a world ideally suited for vampires. It doesn't get much sunshine. And as you can see, the houses that you start off with really are quite fun in terms of gothic architecture and just general spooky decor. If you do get the spooky stuff pack later, then you can totally go to town with your Halloween decor. I find, you know, playing the occasional vampire sim makes a nice change, because their needs are so much easier to deal with than other sims. Apart from the whole thirst for blood thing. But you can just easily send them out hunting. They don't actually harm other sims particularly, so things. Vampires can also be good vampires, if you like, and they can survive off plasma fruit or plasma packs, which they can buy online. And they are also, of course, immortal, and they do come with a whole variety of fun powers, which you can add on as you progress up the ranks. Now, it does warn you that as you take on powers, you must also take on weaknesses. Which makes it sound less fun, but to be honest, I really wouldn't worry about the weaknesses. You can take on really silly ones like having to sleep in coffins, well, vampires usually don't need to sleep anyway, or throwing up in the human food, which is not exactly difficult to avoid doing. So the weaknesses really don't impinge much on your fun. Of course, vampires can be a bit of a nuisance. If you are playing one of your ordinary human sims, they may get attacked in the night by an evil vampire coming and drinking their blood. But this is something they generally recover from. And there is the possibility of creating sort of garlic talismans as well, if you like. Incidentally, the vampire pack is of course also where you get the garlic seeds from if you want to add that to your cooking. So, whether or not to get the vampire pack very much depends on your opinion of vampires. We are now Jungle Adventure. Now, this is a pack that in many ways is similar to Outdoor Retreat. You get a nice new place where you can go on vacation. The land of Silverado, which, as you can imagine, is a sort of South American-inspired, indeterminate kind of place. You get a new skill there of Silveradian culture, which you can build up by talking to the natives, trying their food, although be warned it is very spicy. And very much like Outdoor Retreat, you have a choice of holiday destinations there, ranging from the cheapest option where you will be attacked by insects and possibly fatally poisoned, up to the more expensive luxury options. The difference with the Jungle Adventure is that you have a little more to do in this one. You can explore the jungle. Now, this requires a lot of supplies, which you will need to pick up in advance from the local market, and will be used up as you are attacked by various things. Now, as you explore through the jungle, there are various traps to investigate, puzzles to solve, as the game will tell you. Now, of course, bearing in mind this is The Sims, you will not really be solving any puzzles at all, you'll just be clicking on what it tells you. But it is quite fun. There is quite a lot to do here, and you will find that you will need to go back to the jungle many times to actually explore the entire thing, because you will keep getting attacked by insects that poison you. Be warned though, this can be a little frustrating. You also get a couple of new aspirations to go with this pack, which will help guide you through the jungle in a sense. So again, this is very much a sort of destination add-on, which can add some fun weekends to your Sims lives. Now, finally, in the game packs, we have Realm of Magic. Now, as I believe I may have said, I am a big fan of all these supernatural elements in the game, so I do love Realm of Magic. This adds the ability to become a spellcaster, essentially a witch or wizard, straight out of Harry Potter, as you may notice a few references included in the game as we go along. The spellcaster's alley being one, for example. You can create a spellcaster straight in Create a Sim, but you can also turn your ordinary Sims into spellcasters. They simply need to travel to the Realm of Magic and get one of the sages to give them a little task, which they then perform, and they become a spellcaster. But if you want a head start, you can just create one straight in the Create a Sim. You also have a couple of new aspirations, depending on whether they want to learn spells or potions. And very much as with the vampires, you have a new sort of skill tree of things you can take on. You don't have to have weaknesses with this, but it is built up quite slowly. So it will take you a while to learn all of the skills. You have various options to practice magic, experimenting cauldrons, and so on, which will allow you to increase your magical ability, and eventually you will have the ability to turn your fellow Sims into animals and set them on fire and other fun things like that. The world that you get with this is the land of Glimmerbrook, and here you will find the portal to the Realm of Magic itself. Now, this is a little tricky to find, first of all, because I know when I first got it I got a little confused that you couldn't actually go there. You simply have to travel to one of the nearby lots and then walk there. It is very easy to find once you get there. You go through the portal, and there you will find this Realm of Magic, which I have to say is most attractive of the new worlds that I've seen. It was rather nice. And in Create a Sim and Build mode, obviously you get some new items, obviously magical items. You now have a cauldron, which you can also use for cooking, incidentally, and create a massive load of macaroni cheese, which is very useful if you have a large family to feed. And you also have various suitably witchy costumes, which are rather fun. And again, this is one of those packs that It's very subjective. If you want to enjoy making magic and turning your fellow Sims into things, then you should definitely get this pack. If not, it obviously won't add much to your gameplay outside of the actual spellcaster role that it adds. Okay, so finally we have these stuff packs. Now this is fairly simple because basically, take a look and see if you like the stuff that you get. I will just add, obviously, some of the stuff packs do add other things to your gameplay. For example, the Vintage Glamour brings in the Butler, which is not previously seen in the Sims 4. Nifty Knitting also adds the skill of, well, knitting. You guessed that, didn't you? It also adds Plopsy, the version of Etsy and Folksy, which allows you to sell your creations online. Luxury Party, this adds a few nice new outfits. Your build mode items, obviously very much themed around luxury parties, so if you do hold a lot of parties with your Sims, this will add some more decor options for you. Spooky Stuff, a particular favourite of mine because Halloween is one of my favourite times of the year. Basically this allows you to decorate for a Halloween party. Or if you're feeling in the mood, you can just decorate your house with ghost wallpaper like it's normal. This also adds a pumpkin carving table, which works very much like the woodwork table. You can build a handiness skill on it, and you get to make cute cat pumpkins and put a candle in them and so on. As you can see, this is definitely one for the sort of Halloween nerds. Now, My First Pet obviously is heavily criticised by pretty much everybody because they feel it's something that should have been included in Cats and Dogs, and they have a point. It features some extra costumes for your cats and dogs, which I don't know why weren't in the pack. But it does add some cute decor, I must say. I mean, personally, I did get it because yeah, I'm an absolute animal loving freak, so yeah, I had to have the extra animals. As you can see, you get 4 small pets with it, and you do also get some, I think, very cute items, especially for like kids' rooms and so on and so forth, and extra items to care for your cats and dogs. I do agree, I don't know why it wasn't included with the Cats and Dogs pack, but it isn't, so it's there. Tiny Living, as the name suggests, adds lots of tiny living options. Probably the most fun one of these being the Murphy beds, which are a great new way to kill your sim. They can either get trapped in them or under them.